We have with us, I believe for the first time in the studio with me, Representative J. Funanti Koffa, immediate past speaker, or others would say resigned speaker, former speaker of the House of Representatives of the Republic of Liberia. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
How is life? It has been quite a long 6-7 months turbulence. How have you been able to sail through?
Yes, it's been turbulence. I think we sailed through by the grace of God. I think what we wanted to happen is in the process of happening, which is that Liberia must be governed by the rule of law, and the rule of law is our constitution and the rules that derive thereof, including the rules of the House. And by today, what we saw and what we witnessed, the rules of the House being exercised in the election of a speaker in a transparent and lawful manner. I would say congratulations to Honorable Richard Kuhn, who is now the Speaker of the House of Representatives. The process worked, and that's all we were fighting for.
We will come back to that, but let me take you to the beginning of all of this. After the end of the CDC regime, and then there was a speaker election, it was almost like you were the higher apparent to the throne of speakership, and it was a bitter fight, and you emerged victorious. Where did it go wrong for you?
Julius, I prefer not to look back, but I think it went wrong because, number one, we had a tight election. It was a narrow win for us. And some of those in our coalition at some point left the coalition. And so our numbers dropped and they joined with the so-called majority.
How did you allow that to happen? That questions your leadership. A whole lot of people
have
questioned your leadership, that as a leader, you should know what's happening around you.
Yeah, sure.
Perhaps you should have done better in bringing over the other side.
Okay, so because you have in leadership, you have, it was contentious. So you have so many committee and committee heads you could give. There was not the opportunity to abandon those who came with you to go reach on the other side. So you reach on the other side, we gave a number of committees, but that still was not sufficient because the other side had their agenda. They wanted their speaker, they wanted a speaker, and we were always in that contention. So how did I let some of my guys slip away from me? You know, it's politics. Maybe I was not that politically inclined.
Well, let me take you back to some key things, and since you're here, so that you're able to address them. One, there are two schools of thought about karma coming back for you. One, former Speaker Buffalo Chambers has always thought that you wanted this speakership from him, that you allegedly made attempts when he was speaker, and that two, you allegedly supported somebody in his district to oust him as representative, Anthony Williams, who of course also turned against you. And there has been this talk that, okay, it is a karma that has come back for you. What do you say to that?
Well, all of that was not true. Anthony Williams would tell you that I did not know him during his elections. None of the allegations about me trying to do anything to undermine the former speaker was true. It was just the basis of people's imagination.
Then the next question about some forms of karma comes from others who thought that you were out of the lobbying hand of former President Sirleaf whenever she was trying to oust a speaker, that you played a major role allegedly in those instances. And so there was a time when former Senator Maurice Etuma phoned in on the show and was alluding to that point.
Well, people will do what they want to do based on their own motivations. I don't know what point they were alluding to. I don't know what former President Sirleaf got to do with the House Speaker elections.
Removal of Tyler. Did you play a part in this?
I did not play any part in the removal of Tyler. What I did was I was a special prosecutor, an international case called the Global Witness civil mining case was dropped in the lap of President Salif, and I was appointed special prosecutor to prosecute that case. And based on the evidence which was given to us by British and American governments, we took it to court.
Okay.
That was my job. That was my responsibility.
There is this thought that you wanted to contest, or that you had desire for the 2029 presidency, and so when you became speaker, you started to position yourself as such, and perhaps that may have irked a whole lot of people in the regime.
Is there any example of that?
Well, I'm asking you.
No, you can't ask me. I mean, because I mean, if you were to tell me, is there you did X, Y, and Z, and that showed that you wanted to be president. Number one, which is not a crime. Number two, you can't look at me for doing my job and say, oh, the way he's performing his job, he must want to be president. I mean, that is a ridiculous speculation. If there is an act or there is something I said or did that indicated that, which is lawful, anybody can want to be president in this country, then you can point to that. But I mean, it was just...
People talked about the kinds of appointments you were making in your office.
For example?
The different appointments of different people.
Okay, so Richard Cohen is making those same appointments in his office. Does that mean he wants to be president in 2029? See how ridiculous it is?
So now that we are here, what next for you?
A lot of work in my district. I haven't been to my district since my re-election. It's time to turn internally to my district and do what I was elected to do for the people of Grand Crew District Number 2.
Do they feel abandoned by you?
Although they have stood by me, yeah, I think they felt that some degree of abandonment. None of my projects are moving forward in the district. We spend a lot of time on this, and I think while they stood by me, they too were getting weary that it's time to move on.
So, does this appear like something bad happening for a good end? Perhaps like a father who got so busy with job, wasn't creating the balance with his home, and then something strikes and he must be home now? Is that what it's going to be like? Probably is maybe a little bit of jealousy. They want their lawmaker. They want their lawmaker to be working with them. They want their lawmaker to answer his phone and deal with their issues and deal with their problems. Not necessarily the national problems, especially when it was mired in an impasse at the House of Representatives. You supported Mr. Ability, Representative Ability, for the speakership today, and you all lost again. What went wrong?
Well, that's democracy. We didn't have the votes.
Did you make efforts?
Oh, we made a lot of effort over the last 48 to 24 hours. We made a lot of efforts to get people on the other side. It's legislative politics. People will tell you one thing and do another. But we made a lot of effort, yes.
What's your relationship going to be like with Speaker Kuhn and that entire side? What do you look forward to?
Well, I think it will be cordial. I think we got to work together in order for the House to be smooth and functioning. I think the civil war is over. Honorable Kuhn and myself had some pleasant words before the elections. And some of the other members on the other side, we had some pleasant words. So I don't expect, I think this crisis is over. There may be one or two legal issues or uncertainties that we may have to face or address, but I think basically it's over. The legislature is going to move on. The House is going to move on under the leadership of Honorable Kuhn, Speaker Kuhn, and we go on to do the business of the country. Now, in doing the business of the country, we may have disagreements, but I don't think it will be not within the context or the confines of our responsibility of oversight and rulemaking.
Clearly, you wouldn't have wanted it to go like this in quite a short term, to have been ousted and then resign or go to court, and then the court renders that process illegal, and then resign and all of that. There was this thought from your political institution that you were hobnobbing with the governing regime too much, close to the president, all of that. How is your relationship with the president like?
Well, when you hold the office of speakership, you hear the another branch of government, and our constitution says three coordinate and co-equal branches of government. So at some point, you will have to cooperate with the executive branch of government in order to get the business of the people done. Should I have adopted an opposing posture as an opposition leader, opposition member? I don't think so. Obviously, others thought so. I think we perform within the balancing act of the job of the speakership, and I think someday many people will realize that.
What's your relationship with the president? Because you and him went to Italy when this whole thing started, and others felt it was an effort, allegedly, to take you away and spark the coup.
Well, I don't know about all that. I think that's speculation. I've heard it too. The relationship between me and the president is a relationship. We were never in the same party. I've always respected him as an elder statesman, and we keep it at that level.
There were different conversations that were held with him. Has he tried to explain that, I'm not part of this even though we went?
Well, I prefer to keep those conversations private.
Now, still at the House of Representatives, will you welcome, for example, the current speaker now appointing you to a committee and all of that, given your experience in the legislature in different places?
As I said, because I want to spend a lot of time now on my district, mending fences, finishing my projects, and creating a vision pathway for my district, I won't be available for any committee assignments now and in the not too distant future.
But you are a member of the House of Representatives, so the speaker could appoint you. Are you going to reject that?
No, of course. Well, the speaker can't appoint me against my will. This is not indentured servitude. He can. I'm sure if he wanted to appoint me to a committee, he would ask my opinion, and I would decline for now. And if he appointed me without my acquiescence, I would reject it. As I said, my focus now should be on my district. I've spent a lot of time in the last year and 4 months on capital building and national issues. I think it's time to return to the district and do the work there so they can get a taste of me.
Others will see it as sour grapes from the process?
It can be sour grapes because people got to understand. I mean, if I take a committee assignment, I got to put my full time and effort behind that committee assignment. And then I will be, again, shortchanging my district that I have not been to in a long time. So I don't think it's unreasonable, and I think most people understand that my attention to my district is nothing about sour grapes. It's just about, trying to avoid a lopsidedness towards the House of Representatives and not looking back towards the people who elected you.
Are you sensing that there may be some people or somebody within your district who has been or who have been capitalizing on your absence to start to draw the people towards them?
No, I have not noticed that. In this situation, of course, you have people who want to capitalize, people who want to take advantage, but I think the large majority of the district know me, they like their lawmaker, and they were not distracted by that.
After setting all of this background, there's this legal process that you sought to embark upon. What did you really want to achieve, and what are the lessons learned?
Well, I sought to achieve one thing that, look, we have the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. We have rules of the House. We should be a nation of laws and not a nation of men. Whether you have a majority or not, there is a defined manner in which you go and remove speaker, and we should stick to that. That's what we sought to vindicate. And I think at every step of the process, the Supreme Court, which is the branch of government charged with the interpretation of our laws, sided with us. And so we vindicated the process. We vindicated the law by the mere fact that you had a resignation of mine that was read today on the floor, and a vacancy declared today on the floor, shows that everybody recognized that the Constitution was in full force and effect.
You won the case. That should have encouraged a whole lot of people to come your way, but you still could not achieve that.
Well, yes, and that is the reason why we decided that we were going to step aside, because at the end of the day, let's understand one thing. Because the Supreme Court said you can't have parallel session, the issue of quorum was moot. So it's either people would have gone to work today or not gone to work today. And they were going to determine by their staying away whether or not we were going to have a quorum. It was not going to be a parallel session. But to the extent that people are going to make it a parallel session, then we're back to what happened in November and December. Violence against lawmakers, police brutality, lawmakers on lawmaker violence, protests that went on, fire that went on, all those kind of things. And I don't think at this point all of that was necessary to go back to that process. So we made a conscious and calculated decision in the interest of peace and stability of the House and of the Republic to step aside.
Do you think the executive undermined you in this whole process?
As I said, Julius, I'll reflect on it. I want to look ahead. The executive obviously did not choose my side, and that gave us some complication. So that is part of the difficulty we had, yes.
There were huge allegations made against you by your colleagues for your removal. Those allegations are still hanging in the balance. How do you intend to address them? The allegations of conflict of interest, of inflicting budget, allegations of corruption here and there, the allegations of single-handedly appointing people to go to ECOWAS and all of those. How do you intend to address them?
Well, every time all of those allegations have been put to a test, they have been proven false. So, for example, ECOWAS rejected the issue of the single-handed appointment, the issue of the other issues that you raised.
Well, that is not what ECOWAS rejected. What they rejected was once a country sends people, they are going to stay there. They didn't have time for how those people were elected or appointed to go to ECOWAS. The fact that they were sent there, they felt that they were on a term that needed to end.
At the end of the day, the issue of reappointing people to ECOWAS was rejected. The issue relating to all of the other allegations, again, you make allegations, but you're not allowed to test them. So they were never brought to the proper forum for me to answer to them. Individually, I have answered to them on various platforms, and my answers stand. At the end of the day, the Supreme Court ruled that all of that was illegal and unconstitutional. So that process does not exist, have not existed. If they want to bring it back up, I'll be glad to answer those charges.
There is a case in court as a result of all of these things. The Capitol was gutted. You have been called in to answer some questions. Different lawmakers have been called in. Where are we on this whole case? What do we need to know?
No, I don't know. You need to ask the police. I think they are the ones conducting the investigation. I was questioned on the issue of the fire incident at the Capitol. I maintain that I have no knowledge about it either before or during that process. I learned about it like most Liberians did on the morning of the fire, and that I have not seen any evidence shown to me in the investigation process that points at my involvement in it. But the police are the one who's doing the investigation.
There is this claim that you admitted to some viral audio that it may have been your voice on it on a spoon last night.
No, I think you're taking a spin that some government official wants you to take.
No, and this is what I'm asking you.
Okay, so there's an audio which was not presented to me by the police during the investigation at all, but was put on social media, which I said, from the way it sounded like my voice. The person who is accused of having the audio in his possession say it's AI. So can AI imitate my voice? Yes. So I answered the question. It appears to be my voice. I also said, somebody who didn't want to listen, that I do not remember having that conversation on that night. So in the day and age of AI, it's entirely possible that it could have been created with the sound of my voice and the sound of the voices of others. I don't know. It was not presented to me during the course of the investigation. But let's take it one step further. Let's assume, okay, for the purpose of argument, that it was my voice. I had that conversation. What in that tape or in that recording points to an involvement in the fire incident at the Capitol?
So let me ask you squarely.
No. I mean, that's the question.
No, I'm the interviewer.
Okay,
You are the
fair
interviewee.
enough. Fair enough.
So you have to answer the question.
Fair
So let me ask you squarely. Did you have any conversation? Were you part of any plan to burn the Capitol?
Well, I just told you. No knowledge, no involvement, none at all. I mean, how emphatic can I be? None at all. And I wish the government would invite international investigators, and I wish they would take advantage of polygraph. A polygraph machine is a modern technique in identifying, in investigation, that identifies whether or not the subject of the polygraph is being truthful. If we were to employ those methods, that would aid in the investigation. And I think international investigators should be called in to assist with the investigation, just like they call them in the determination of the arson. Okay? I think it will be fair, and in the eyes of the public, it will be right to give it more credibility if there were some we seek legal mutual assistance to help with this investigation as to the criminal aspect of the fire.
Earlier, you mentioned some legal issues that may still need to be addressed. What are those?
The pay and benefits of me and my staff.
Oh, you haven't been paid? There have been reports that you've been paid, that there were negotiated settlements of $2 or $3 million and all of that. Perhaps it's now time to address them.
Well, only if you want to believe it. So, my request was that my colleagues be paid. The issue of the speaker's pay and benefit for speaker and staff from, I think, November till yesterday still has to be addressed, because for the majority block, they have been paying that to Richard Cohn, right? But if I resign today, and it was accepted today, and a vacancy created today, then I'm entitled, and my staff is entitled to all that pay and benefits. We will make, in the next few days, we'll make a request for reimbursement and payment of that. Failing that, then we may have to end up in court on it.
Well, weren't these part of the negotiations that led to your resignation?
Well, it was take a part of the negotiation that I did not want to hold the process up, because it was important to me that we did not go into today in a form and manner where I had to exert myself in a forceful manner as speaker. I did not want that. The public, as much as the public wanted us to stand for the rule of law, I did not see a public appetite for us to do anything that occurred in a formal manner in November when lawmakers were at each other's throat. I don't think the public had an appetite for that, and I wanted to avoid that. So I know what I'm entitled to. I know what the law would give me. I'm a lawyer. We'll take that course if we can reach a settlement on that. I was not worried about that issue going into my resignation. I just wanted to make sure my colleagues' pay and benefits were going to be done.
So have they been paid?
That process is going on now, yes.
And who are you going to make your request to for your payment and your staff? For those?
Well, I'll make my request to plenary.
Okay. Now, how are you and your colleagues going to be positioned in the House of Representatives, the quote-unquote rule of law caucus? Are you going to be like the opposition bloc there, or what?
Well, the rule of law caucus is going to continue to exist. I think our members may grow with time. It's not necessarily an opposition bloc, but it's a bloc that wants us to adhere as clear as possible to the rule of law.
beyond the issues of the House of Representatives, what other key issues are you all going to focus on? Because a whole lot of Liberians have been disappointed over this whole impasse and how long it has taken. There are issues of education, health, agriculture, roads that are quite important to Liberians, and they think these issues have not featured prominently in all of these things. So how are you going to push them?
No, but these issues have always featured prominently in the budget. They have always been the subject of budget debates and budget contention. And I think they will continue. And to the extent that I'm going to continue to push on the issue of the development of Southeast roads. That's going to be that's a primary area of concern to my members, to my constituents. And the issues of healthcare and education in rural areas where my constituents is very important. So those issues will be front and center.
And talk about your political party, the CDC. There's been this talk that they may not have stood with you as strongly as they needed to. Where are you all now? People are talking about a whole lot of defeats for the CDC, a whole lot of defeat here and there, defeated in election, one speakership, defeated again, and all of those things. How does it position you, the CDC, in the political landscape? First, you were the highest CDC official in government. Now you are not, but you're still influential. So where do you go?
Well, it's no secret that the defeat at the presidential level was very heartbreaking for the party. It's no secret that the party is still trying to recover immense fences from that. I would not say the party did not support me. I would say some elements of the party, which was not the party's position, okay, took steps that ultimately was not in my interest, and everyone realized was not in the interest of the party. I think the party is going to overcome that. We have at least 4.5 or 5 more years from the next general elections. And I think it's sufficient time for the party to be able to get its house to get in order and for it to recover.
Are you going to play some role in that?
I expect that I will, yes.
There are thoughts that you have been arguing within that certain people should not be in the leadership, either because they are sanctioned or to take some step backward, to rebrand, have some new faces, to give the party a new lease of life. Is that true?
No, anybody who's speculating that has been my argument is just speculation. At the end of the day, they're not in my proximity to the party. It's purely speculation.
Okay, having you here gives me the latitude to ask me a whole lot of things that I've heard.
That's true.
And
it gives me the latitude to answer them.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. There have been these thoughts as well that some kind of way you've been influential in getting people on sanctions list. Yeah, whether it was from the previous regime or whatever, but there are these thoughts. People always say Koffa may have his hands in these things, trying to push for certain Liberians to get sanctioned. How true is it?
It's one of the most ridiculous things to think that me or a Liberian will be able at the Treasury Department level or the highest level of the United States government to write people's name on a sanction list. People say those things because it makes them feel good. It has no iota of truth in it.
There have also been thoughts that if these things had happened in the previous regime, there would have been stronger statements from international community partners and all of that. After the ruling of the Supreme Court, that seemed not to have happened. Were you concerned about that?
Yeah, I was a little bit concerned, especially with ECOWAS, who played a pivotal role in bringing this impasse, that there were going to be statements. But then, I don't know, they decided to do what they did in terms of remaining silent. I'm not going to question that. I think the impasse is over, and everybody is glad about that, and we move on.
The Americans did not say anything too.
Ask them why not.
So I'm asking you, does it make you feel?
But then
somehow
again, I'm not. You mean how it made me feel?
Yeah.
I don't know. The Liberia is an independent country. We try to be independent. Yes, I thought adding voice to this issue would have been important for the Americans to do. But remember, they have never weighed in on this issue. Their first and only statement on this issue was a general statement that all sides should work together in the interest of the country. So, did I expect anything different from them? No. Am I disappointed? It's the same thing that they have said. I mean, they've played. It's the same role they've played in this process, so it didn't make no difference.
Former Speaker Koffa, was there anything about a settlement of $2 or $3 million being pushed by you as part of the negotiations?
No.
I had Representative Sumo Morba of District 3, and he alluded to that the document he saw contained like $2 million settlement for you.
Representative Sumo said that?
Yes, of District 3, Montserrat County.
Oh, I'm not aware. I will ask him to show the document. I will check him out. I will ask him about that. That's my first time hearing about it. I would like to see that document too if he has such a document, because it absolutely did not occur.
But are you concerned that it has been all over the place?
But this is Liberia. You know, anytime you do something, nobody does anything on principle. Nobody does anything because it's right. Everybody do something because it's money. That's how we perceive people. So when I was contemplating resigning, did I think that this would be part of the speculation? Of course, because this is the society we live in. But I'm telling you that that did not occur.
Why did he resign long ago, and why now?
That's a good question. Remember, when the Supreme Court made their decision on December 6th, both people came and told you that it was confusing, that ultra-virus was a strange legal phenomenon that most lawyers were unfamiliar with. And therefore, they convinced the public that the public should be confused. And so we filed a bill of information. I could not, having filed a bill of information, asking the Supreme Court on issues that would provide clarity to the ruling, then get up and walk away from that. I think I owe it to the public to stay the course until the Supreme Court either vindicated us or clarified that no, it did not mean that what we had argued for was the law. So we had to stay that course. Once the Supreme Court ruled, then we look at and assess our overall position vis-a-vis the House, and then we made our decision. Again, I did not want to go into today, which is the opening of our first session in this term. I did not want to go into it looking like having the House look like it did in October last year.
What do you make of the overall performance of the government thus far since it came to power?
I have been embroiled in leadership impasse. I'm not impressed with the overall performance of the government, but then again, I'm not number one, an objective bystander on that issue, and two, I've not been paying that much attention because I have been singularly focused on one issue. But from from people on the streets that I have talked to, things are tough.
What role do you think the opposition can play to ensure that the toughness you are talking about doesn't continue?
I think the opposition needs to get its act together more. They need to focus more on policy prescriptions that work. They need to articulate those policy prescriptions more in a manner that the Liberian people will understand. They need to push for those policy prescriptions. And I think I'm now in a position to be able to assist in doing that.
There are those who think that you come across as being more liberal, as being more laid back, not quite a combative, tough-talking opposition politicians that will take the government on. I mean, really to the backs. Are we going to see a more forceful Funanti Koffa that is not speaker anymore, or the similar approach?
Look, am I going to change my spots? I don't think so. I think I make my voice loud and clear. I take the positions I take. Yes, in many cases, I out for consensus because at the end of the day, peace is better than war because life is better than death. I tend to build consensus. I tend to find ways to build consensus, yes. But my position will always be my position. But I don't know, am I going to adopt a fiery brand style of politics? I doubt if I will.
Are you going to go back to lawyering?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm thinking about it. Now that I don't have the speaker position, I may return to supplement my income. I may return to lawyering. Yes.
It seems it has some good income. The way you talk about supplementing income means that there is something good there.
In lawyering?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Some we are the fat box. His name is Fonati Koffa, former Speaker of the House of Representatives. We're having him here. Before we go to the lines to take a few calls to interact with Liberians, some messages have been coming in as well. What are some specific things you're going to do in Grand Coup? Because your people have a whole lot of needs. I've been to Grand Coup before, and once you get there, you know exactly what the problems are. So what are some key things you're going to focus on?
We're going to focus on finishing my projects. There's one school project that I was to deliver before elections last year that is lingering. It's just got a few more finishing touches on it in the Flanagan community so that the students can move into a very decent school for the first time. My radio station project is still ongoing. There's a town hall project I have in the Bois area that has to be completed. There's the Sastan Youth Center project. And then overall, I would like to invest more resources into road building and road maintenance, getting some yellow machines and stationing them in the district to ensure that the roads are passable all throughout the year.
Well, the government is pushing for the 285 yellow machines, 19 to each county. You really may not need to get yellow machines there if the government brings theirs.
That's correct. But then again, I don't know what that schedule of the government is. So I would time what I do with what we're going to see what the government does.
Okay, let's take a few calls. We have with us the former speaker, J. Fonati Koffa, right here, 777-700-995, 555-995, the numbers to call. And you will be through to the OK conversation on OKFM 99.5. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Thank you very much. My name is Andrew Wishe, and I join you from Banozio. Well, I'd like to take this chance to say a big thank you to the former speaker, Honorable Fonati Koffa. We stood the ground, we said the rule of law, we are not against Honorable Richard Kuhn to ascend to the position, but we said he should do the right thing. Now they have done the right thing, the speaker has resigned, and now he is the new speaker. It's incumbent upon him to reconcile the house. Whatsoever happened has happened. This is a new day, and we all should move forward as Liberians. I always will appreciate you, Speaker Koffa. I listen to you, I've been following you on Spoon, and every time you talk, you always seek the country and the rule of law. And I was always stand for people that stand for the rule of law. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks so kindly for your call as well. Let's see who's on this end. Welcome, let's hear you.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Olano Esma from Point 4 to be precise in the Christian Cove Valley. I want to applaud the former speaker for a brilliant decision he has taken. Despite all the ups and downs of delaying resignation, at least the country that will get better. So I'm forever grateful for his resignation. Let him be a role model to other colleagues that monitoring on a daily basis. Thank you for having me on the radio.
Okay, thanks so kindly as well. Let's see who's here. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Julius, how you doing? G. Eric Pai here.
Go ahead, Eric.
I want to say a very big congratulations to the former speaker. Because of you, dignity has been restored to the House of Representatives, and because of you, also the traditional era has come to an end where few people can just sit anywhere and say we don't want this person. Because of you, now we should subscribe to the rule of law. Thank you for standing your ground. Thank you for restoring dignity to our nation. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so kindly as well. Welcome. Let's hear you. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead. Let's hear you.
This is Leon Abenigo Afum of Slovak Combatant.
Go ahead.
Let me say thanks to Mr. Jiria and thanks to J. Francis Koffa, the former speaker of the 56th legislature. I think he demonstrated very well to uphold the rule of law and the governance of our country. Let me applaud him. This is a man who has a lot of experience with making legislation, even though he is not occupying that position. But for him to be asking for that particular position of the speakership, it is something that very key to some of us. However, we pray that he will work out very well, and we believe that his leadership will be provided because my leadership is the foundation of solution. However, leadership also is subject for improvement. Thank you for the time.
Okay, thanks so kindly as well. Let's see who's on this end. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Thank you, my good friend and brother Julius. Let me take this time to tell you big thank you for inviting the honorable speaker. Look, Julius, if we do not have anything to give the honorable speaker, that we call him former speaker now, he has do a best to stood the ground. Some of us were not respecting the rule of law in this country. We were just pretending. But at least he has brought us to this point that we know that we need to respect the law of the land. So now I commend him. Because I see nobody will come out to even laugh at him because he was all doing the rightful thing. So now you see how everybody certified. You see how the city is quiet. Nobody was against Nagbekun, Honorable Nagbekun. No. But we were saying that the report be done. That's all we were saying here. We
Okay.
were not here to say, okay, because what and no. But it's the report. So let me take the time to thank you so much. God will continue to bless you.
Okay, thanks so kindly. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Good afternoon, Julius.
Go ahead. Let's hear you. Journalist Emmanuel Kotu.
Yes, sir. I have two questions for the honorable former speaker. There was speculations around that your removal was being carried out by people within the CDC. What are your thoughts on that? And secondly, if you were rating this government from 1 to 10, what is the score for them? So
Okay.
for the first one is this one.
Okay, thanks so kindly. Let's go international. Let's go international and see who's here on the international line from France. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Good afternoon, Julius, and good afternoon to Honorable Koffa, Frank Gibson, and I call from Paris.
Go ahead, Frank.
Honorable Koffa, looking at the elections, the elections result today, the speaker's elections result today, it is seen that some of your members, the quote-unquote the rule of law members, I think they betray your group.
How?
4 of the members of the majority bloc, we understood that they are out of the country. And Representative Koga did not vote today. Yet they were able to retain the 43 votes that they are all with them posted off, that they have the number, Just for the 3 votes that they have been carrying for the last 6 months, it comes up to the index particular vote. And now 29 number, we found out that most of it, only had 26. Don't you feel some sort of betrayal from some of the members who crossed over to the majority bloc to live with a region or speaker?
Okay, thanks so kindly. He will address that. 777-700-995. We seem to be having problem with this 777-1. But let's let's take Madam Patricia Logan of the Liberia Albino Society. Welcome, Madam Logan.
How you doing? I call you loud.
But then see you on radio, Madam. I think we're not going to speak to the topic. Okay, let's go international from Minnesota. Who am I speaking with? Welcome.
Hey, Julius, this is Cyrus McGee. I'm calling you from the GMTV studio here in Minnesota.
Go ahead.
I'd like to say thanks to you and to former Speaker Koffa. Mr. Former Speaker, thanks for, holding on to the rule of law. You took this entire thing of moving a speaker to another level. You stood your ground, you stood with the laws, and we are where we are today. I listened to you yesterday. There is something that you said that is very important. The need to further strengthen the process of removing a speaker. We hope that you keep being vocal, that you were today on the floor, and you push for reforms that will make sure that the screws are tightened, that people will not just get up and do what they did and kept our country hostage for almost 7 months. Thank you for your service to our country, and keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Okay, from the U.S., this person, let's read some messages. Ishaka Sharif says, let me appreciate Speaker Koffa, but problem will recur once chairmanability continues to enjoy the confidence of 26 members. Time bomb. Okay. This person says, greetings, Mr. J. Let me appreciate the Representative Koffa for his the second public appearance since the resignation. Kindly ask Representative Koffa if he regrets his decision that led to the chamber to be set on fire. His decision? Okay. Sifas Ojuku Gamayan sends in that message. This person, let's take this message first before we take more calls. This person says, hi Julius, I once told you that men of character do not bow down to circumstances. Instead, they see circumstances as opportunities to do something great. Kudos to Honorable Koffa for upholding the rule of law. Only a man of character could do that. I remember him as the father of the rule of law. Only a man of character could do that. Ernest Bailey wrote in that message. Let's come to this line and see who's here. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Yeah, this is journalist Octavian Williams, the former vice president of the president of Liberia.
And the one-time defeated presidential candidate of the president of Liberia. Go ahead. Let's hear you.
So my issue has to do with Koffa, upholding the law, just like the text you just read. I was now more focused on today's election because I know the play from the executive, and I've always said, like I said on Prime FM this morning when I was invited, that the Unity Party has shot itself in the legs from the crisis from the legislature. I want to be thankful and appreciate Councillor Koffa for upholding and maintaining the laws of this republic. And moving forward, no group of lawmakers will go to Capitol Hill to easily talk about removing a speaker just like that. And I know more people will run away. That is the legacy and that is the history that Councillor lawmaker Nancy Koffa has said. Kudos to you, Councillor, and you will serve in history in this republic. Judge, thank you for the audience giving the councillors this evening to clear a few of the issues.
Okay. Thanks so kindly. As well, a few more calls, and then we come back to him to let him go. He's a running man. Welcome. Let's hear you. I don't know. We're not hearing you at all. I don't know. We're not getting you at all. But let's try this side. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Yeah, Julius, this is Brown Tati from Monrovia.
Go ahead.
And let me thank the former speaker and all those that participated in the election today. But I had a question for him. I want to believe that most of the information we heard on air, even on a removal, may have necessitated the fact that he was pushing for the auditing of the house.
Yeah, I had that question coming up.
So if he still be pushing that line now that he has gone on the floor, that he really free to ask any question to form a line, so that the horse, as he perceives, so it can be up there.
Okay, thanks so kindly. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Welcome, Julius.
Go ahead. Let's hear you. Oh, you went off. How did that happen? We don't know. This one. Welcome. Let's hear you. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Moses. I want to information number 9. Yeah, I want to congratulate the former speaker for the job done for the city of Liberia. He did well. He will not just sit down because I'm a son of a very country, and we want him to in our country, let him go back to the district and do a district work. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks so kindly. Emmanuel says Mr. Koffa is a man of law. History will pay him back. Let him keep doing the right thing, best for his people. Please ask the former speaker what actually went wrong. After winning the speakership election, the very people who elected you went against you in split months. Does this exemplify a clear weakness in your leadership ability? That is what that person asks. Please tell Councillor Koffa thank you for respecting the rule of law. Liberia is bigger than any individual. Councillor Koffa, you are invited at the Executive Court's barber shop to cool your mind with a very good haircut and to have some cold drinks. Salis Harris says that they say Executive Court's barber shop. Send me the location for the man go. Please ask, I guess, how was his role in the 2018 unconstitutional removal of Councillor Johnny Chokon Willie Smith? He was chair on judiciary in the House then. This will be the second to last call, then we'll come back to him. Welcome.
Good evening, Julius.
Yes, go ahead. Let's hear you.
Yeah, my name is Charles H. I call it from Broadway. Good evening to former Speaker Fanatic Koffa. Councillor Koffa, I have 2 questions for you. One, how do you see the rule of law in Liberia in the next 4 years under the Joseph Boakai administration? Two, what do we expect to see from Councillor Koffa at the National Legislature beginning Thursday? What kind of lawmaker are you going to be?
Okay, thanks so kindly. Let's take this final one. Welcome.
Yeah, Julia.
Yeah.
My name is Nyanwepia Ibrahim Thomas from Johnsonville, District Number 2. And let me appreciate the Honorable CEO for monitoring the coverage of FDR today. And I have a few questions quickly. One of them is, one of the reasons for which he had put to the ground was because he wanted to be given a due process. And that due process was to allow his colleagues to come back to session.
Go ahead.
Resolution and put it on the floor that he will be given a due process to explain himself. Was that being done? One. Two.
Hello.
The bidding action. One. Two. The delay of the Liberian people's job. Because you,
I don't know what's happening with your line. It keeps.
it is about doing the Liberian people's job, but I feel that Liberians have lost in the process.
Okay, thanks so kindly. We'll go back to him now. The calls are many, but that's what it usually is. Yes, you have a whole lot of issues to address.
Let me take up a few.
So this person says the executive court's barber shop is located between Randall and Benson Streets intersection opposite BF Pharmacy. Okay.
Okay,
So
we'll
supposed
try
to get
to
free
find,
haircut there for you.
try to find a way to go there next week.
The way that Sabu you can consider it's very easy. Yeah, so you can respond to the concerns.
One of the callers stated something I think we all miss in this process, and maybe because I did not explain it before. Going into today, we had two choices. We had the opportunity to take the militant approach, which is citizens come with us to fight our way into presiding and inviting my colleagues to bring a petition, or to end the process and avoid any more violence at the Capitol. We chose the latter. And as he said, the city is calm today. The entire country and maybe the world watched the process unfold at the House of Representatives. So if I had to forego the resistance to bringing under my gavel petition to remove me, I think that was the right decision. And by the votes today and the analysis of the votes, if I had presided today, there would not have been a removal because the votes still are not there. But to fight to have that done, when clearly, while the 49 are there, I think the majority were there not to continue with my speakership. And it's not a good feeling if you are presiding over an institution and majority of the people do not want you there for whatever reason. So the decision to resign today and avoid all of that, I think was the right decision. What role am I going to play on the floor? Yes, I will continue to point out rule of law issues. I will continue to point out those issues that I fought for while I was speaker, although I couldn't fight in public, because when you sit in a position of decision making, your fight is a different fight. If you go in public, it's more grandstanding because you have the authority to make changes, to do what you need to do in the budget, to work on the issues that you need to work on. As you know, our budget process was very transparent. It usually ended with a statement from me on why members should or should not vote for the budget. For the first time, we had issues about off-budget spending was highlighted when I was there. I think that is going to be looked at more scrupulously now. And I think we brought to the process, to the speakership, even if people do not realize it now or don't appreciate it now, a new level of professionalism, a new level of accountability and transparency. And I think if that is picked up and moved forward, I think we'll have a good legislature. So I'm happy today. I'm satisfied that the city is calm that everybody watched the process, that everybody respect the process that they saw, and everybody felt it was, whether you like Honorable Bility or Honorable Kuhn, I think everybody saw that Honorable Kuhn was elected fair and square. I think everybody accept that he is the Speaker of the 55th Legislature. On the issue of whether or not some of our members cross over, we said that. If you saw the rule of law statement, we said that part of the reason why we had to step down, we had dropped below the number that was comfortable enough to have a veto proof. Okay, we just simply had dropped on that, below that number. That was not a secret. We tried to reach out on the other side to get people, and I think that's where the deception came from. But that we lost some of our members who did not vote for honorability. We knew that going in the process. I think we regained some of those members by virtue of the votes he got. I think we were anticipating, based on the inside negotiations, that some of the people on the other side would have crossed over. Whatever assurances were giving were not honored. And so I'm not faulting the rule of law members who, many of them, all of them, are always very open on what they're going to do. Those who are going to leave, they came and said, look, for reasons, for X, Y, and Z reasons, I'm not going to go with the caucus in the speaker election. I'm going to go with Richard Namakun. So we knew them. The question is, those who we thought we had from on the other side, we apparently did not have.
Someone talked about the issue of audit, because it was one thing that even me, I was pushing the legislature on, and I'm going to resume that next week. So where will you stand on it? Because it was being stated that part of your removal, some of the subterranean reasons.
Yeah. I like that term.
Yeah.
It's not going to go away, right? I don't think, because it's the right thing to do. You see, I always tell people, I always say to my colleagues, when it is the right thing to do, it is not going to go away. It may be the uncomfortable thing to do, okay? The issue of audit at the House of Representatives is simply not going to go away. I'm not saying we're going to have it in the next 6 months. I'm not saying we're going to have it in the next year. It depends on what the leadership wants to do. But I'm going to tell you that it will not go away. We spend an awful lot of money, a whole lot of money, at the legislature for it just to be unaccounted for.
Okay. I think so far so good. Okay, yeah. So someone asked about your role in the removal of Councillor Jane. You were chair on judiciary. People always cite that.
Okay, so what most people don't know is that the impeachment of Councillor Jane was given to a specialized committee headed by Councillor Kanye Wessel. It was not given to the Judiciary Committee. It was given to a specialized committee to handle that. And so I was not involved in that process.
Okay. Councillor Fonati Koffa, Representative Grand Coup County. We say thanks so kindly for taking some time out to accept our invitation to be here to clarify a whole lot of issues to the Liberian people.
Sure.
We wish you all the best.
Julius, it's always a pleasure. I think this is my first time in your studio, but we always interact on a more intellectual basis. I'm glad that I was able to visit your studios today, and thanks for the good job you're doing.
Okay, thanks so kindly as well. That's how we go. Let's take a very quick break as we allow him to go